no time to waste, no time to waste, no time to waste, no. There's no time to waste, no time to waste, no time to waste, so you better do the damn thing right. You only got one life. You better do the damn thing right.
Welcome back to the ShoeBenderPod, guys. I'm so glad to have you guys back. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about today, and it's going to be fun, man. We've got a lot of stuff going on in the NBA world and in the NFL world. So without a doubt, let's get right into it. And we're getting started with the NBA, guys. We're talking playoffs. The playoffs are now on to the second round. I know the last time I talked about it, I think there were still like 2 games left. So it's been a while that I've been on here, but we got, let's see here, in the west side of the playoffs, we got the Phoenix Suns and the Dallas Mavericks, which play tonight. So we'll see who takes game 1. I see Phoenix taking game 1 because they are at home, and honestly, they just are the better team. If we're just being honest, I want Luka to win just because that's just me being biased, but the reality is that the Phoenix Suns are a way better team. They really are. I mean, with Dallas, you honestly really have to stop Luka. People could say Brunson, but it's like, but Brunson only had like 2 good games. Like, you can't go off those 2 good games. But you never know, man. He could catch fire. A lot of people catch fire in the playoffs, and there they go. So he could be an unsung hero for Dallas. But I just think that Phoenix is a way better team, man. They're a way better team. They're hungrier. They really felt like they should have won last year in the playoffs. I mean, in the finals. And they didn't. They came up short. Obviously, injuries are gonna have a big factor in all these series because I mean Booker already hurt his hamstring last series, and everybody knows that when you're dealing with the hamstring, you have to be extra careful, like legit extra careful, because you never know what can happen. You tear that hamstring, your shit's done, bro. You're out. You're out for the rest of the playoffs. So we'll see what happens there, but I do have Phoenix winning that series, and I have them winning tonight. But we'll see. Like I said, every game that's left, every team that's left, they are this far for a reason, because they are good and they have great coaches. So we'll see what goes down. But I do got Phoenix winning tonight. Last night we had Golden State and Memphis go head to head. Man, that was such a great game. I mean, you got the young line trying to take over the king line, and the Golden State Warriors. Golden State did end up squeezing that one out, man. Pause. I mean, this game was close. I mean, you got Klay Thompson making a clutch 3, but we know Klay. We know what Klay is gonna do, man. I really don't get why they're guarding Jordan Poole harder than they're guarding Klay. Klay's getting wide ass open shots which I think is crazy. You got a top 75 NBA player. He should be a top NBA 75 player, but he's not. Me personally, I put him in there. You cannot be letting this guy get wide ass open shots, man. You really can't. He's the purest scorer in the NBA. He, like, legit. Some people could say Steph's the best scorer, but I think Steph's the best pure scorer. Like, his jump shot is just so pure, man. From his base all the way up to his release, man. Beautiful freaking form, man. Just great form. And they were able to take that game last night. A lot of people could, if Golden State would have lost, they would have blamed it on Draymond Green being ejected, which, me personally, there's an argument for that, because I do believe that Draymond is the engine that drives the Golden State Warriors. It's on the side that nobody pays attention to, which is the defensive side. He is a freaking game wrecker, man. He's like an Aaron Donald, like straight up. He just destroys your whole offense. And you have to pretty much worry about that guy a lot. And then when you're worrying about Draymond, then you have to worry about Klay, which is another great defender. Not as good as Draymond, but Klay's a great defender. He'll shut your guards down. But Draymond got ejected, I believe it was in the 3rd quarter, because a guy went up into the air and Draymond literally grabbed him by his jersey, like from here, and yanked him down. This kid comes going down to the ground. They go look at it. They call it a flagrant 2. Draymond's out of here, man. And to be fair, I mean, Draymond's been ejected from games for doing shit like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just no room in the game for those kind of fouls. I mean, I get fouling guys. I mean, foul the shit out of them, but just don't be clearing them when they're in their air, man. That's a whole different type of game. Like, to me personally, I don't like seeing it. The internet blew up about it and they were calling the league soft. To me, that's not soft, man. If someone were to do that to you in a pickup game or in a street game, I guarantee you're not just getting up and being like, oh, I'm not going to call that that's soft. Nah, bro. You don't take someone out the air like that, man. So me personally, I didn't agree with the internet. They always try to say that the game is so soft now. It's like, why? You want to go back to the 80s where guys were literally just fouling the shit out of you and throwing you on the ground or clotheslining you? Just that dumb shit, bro. That ain't basketball, man. Like, I get so irritated when I see these old heads talking about, like, oh, I stopped watching the game because they're soft now. They, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bro, back then you legit, when even in football, a quarterback could throw the ball away and it's been 5 seconds and he says he's throwing the ball and the guy would still come and clear him out. How is that good for the game? That's not good for anybody. That's like literally a boxer, ding ding, the round's done, and then a boxer walking back up to him and just swinging on him. Like, there's no point to that. But like, what's so good about that? You go ahead and say like, oh, the psychological. That's not psychological, bro. That's messed up. You don't do shit like that. Me personally, when it comes to the game, I liked how it's ref now, because now now you need skill to play. You don't get to just freaking clothesline me out of the air and still be in the league. Like, that's not good. Like, that takes no skill. I could do that. I could go to any gym and foul the shit out of somebody and be like, all right, yeah, I'm good. No, that's not cool. I don't think it was soft. Me, I personally, I feel like it should have been a flagrant 1. Because they said that he smacked him in the face. I didn't see the smack in the face. I maybe just need to rewatch it, but I did see him yank the dude down, and they still won. They still won. Granted, they only won by 1 point, but I mean, if you seen the last play that Memphis ran, I mean, I'm not an NBA coach, and I knew exactly what they're gonna do. They were gonna give it to Ja, give him a screen, and let him run full speed to the basket, which is exactly what happened. Ja just missed the layup, and he missed it bad, man. I mean, the dude hit the top of the box, not the backboard, but the top of the box. And Golden State wins. That's a series now. Anytime, like I said before, it's not a series until someone wins on the road. Golden State won on the road. There you go. Me personally, I feel Golden State is going to win this series, just for the simple fact that it's the experience, man. They're experienced in these late games. They're experienced in the playoffs, and they obviously are experienced in the finals. So I see them winning. I see the Memphis giving them a great fight. I can see this one maybe going to 7, maybe. But I honestly do see Golden State closing that out in 6. I feel Memphis will win at least 2. But the Warriors, their pedigree's too good right now, and they're getting healthy. I mean, Klay's only going to keep getting in basketball shape, and the more he gets in basketball shape, the more deadlier they're going to be, because of how he just runs the floor. Like Rip Hamilton, like Ray Allen, they're just running across the court everywhere, just like Steph does. So I see them winning that series, but you never know. Like I said, injuries happen, and injuries can change a whole freaking series. And I'll talk about injuries in the East here soon. But yeah, definitely, they play again tomorrow in Memphis, so we'll see how that goes down. I mean, Memphis was so close. So I mean, for a fact they got a huge confidence boost. Like, yo, we could beat this team. But there's a huge difference between thinking you could do it and actually doing it. So we'll see what happens with them. But I feel like that's going to be probably the best series in the West, man. It's going to get chippy. There's going to be a lot of shit talking. I mean, at one point you literally had John Morant telling Kuminga, I think that's how you say his name, literally pointing at him saying, you can't guard me. He can't guard me. shit's crazy, man. It's gonna be a crazy one. You had Draymond and him, kind of going back for not really, because I think Draymond actually respects Ja, and I think it's the same way around. The one person you don't want to get going though is Clay. Trust me, man. You get Clay going, it's a whole different beast in that team, bro. So that's what's going on in the West. In the East right now, we got Miami and Philadelphia going at it. Like I said, I was speaking about injuries. You got Philadelphia, the 76ers, without their best player. The league's leading scorer. And Joel Embiid, he got his orbital bone fractured, bro. Me personally, I think he's going to be gone this whole series. I don't think he's going to come back, even if he wears that plastic mask. Because I know that usually when you wear that mask, it's usually for a broken nose, not a broken orbital. So me personally, I think he's going to be out that series, man. I'd be surprised if he comes back, which pretty much leaves it all on Harden. I mean, we've seen how Harden's been playing. Harden has not been doing good in these playoffs, man. And then you're going against probably one of the feistiest defenses in the NBA, man. Miami's so good defensively. They really are. They are actually playing right now. I'll check here in a bit to see who's winning. Actually, I'll check right now for you guys. So it's 80-72 at the end of the third quarter. So they're going into the fourth quarter with the 8-point lead. I got Miami winning this one, man. I really do. And they're just so good defensively. So, I mean, anytime you switch, you're switching to a great defender. You switch from, you switch from Jimmy to PJ and then to Adebayo. Like, these guys are good, man. I mean, look at Kyle Lowry, scrappy too, man. So I feel like, yeah, they got a great team down there in Miami. I do see them winning that series. I definitely got them winning tonight. But everything will change if Embiid comes back. But man, I just don't see it, guys. I mean, a broken orbital bone, like that's big time, man. I mean, boxers take a while to come back from that shit. Obviously, their profession is a lot different because they're getting smacked in the face every time. But I mean, that's all it could take. That's all it could take to make it worse, man. So we'll see what happens with him. But I got Miami winning tonight. Tomorrow we got the Bucks and Boston going at it, man. Giannis is an animal, man. There's a reason why he's called the Greek Freak, bro. Like, dude, this guy is a monster. He's legit a Greek god. We need to stop calling him the Greek Freak and just calling him a Greek god, bro. Honestly, double G. Honestly, dude, man, the Bucks they're so good with Giannis. They dominated Boston last night. Like, legit just dominated the guys. It didn't look close. Anytime they would try to get close, I mean, freaking the Bucks would just slam the door shut back on their face. There was a point where you showed Brad Stevens, who was the GM of the Celtics, they panned to him, and then he literally was leaving the suite with like 8 minutes left. And they weren't even getting blown out that bad at that time. It was only like a 13-point lead. But yeah, it was bad for them. I mean, they got dominated. Giannis was literally throwing bodies around the court. He alley-ooped it to himself at one point. It literally looked like he was just out there just playing, just practicing. Like, if we're being real, it looked like he was just practicing, man. And that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem. You do not want a guy like that making it look that easy. And so we'll see what goes down there. I mean, that's already a series because Milwaukee went on the road. They won at the Garden, TD Garden, man. Which I've talked about before, how hard it is to win there. Not just because the Celtics, but you got that freaking fan base, man. They are loud, they're obnoxious, and then you got that damn leprechaun in the middle of the court. Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. It is one game. Anything can happen. It's literally just game one. So you could have one good. I mean, they could have had their best game, and the rest of the time, them just be trading back and forth wins. So we'll see what goes down in. The only thing that looks bad for Boston is that you had Marcus Smart get hurt, and then you got Milwaukee missing their second best player in Middleton. They shouldn't be dominating you like that. But then again, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum didn't have a great game either. which I don't believe that's gonna happen again. But you never know. Those kind of wins in the play, or those kind of losses in the playoffs, it could be very demoralizing to a team, man. Especially when you see a guy like Giannis and being like, how are we gonna stop this guy? Honestly, like, how are we gonna stop him? So that's what's going on in the NBA world. So we'll switch over to the NFL and we'll talk about the NFL draft. I'm only going to talk about who the Seahawks picked, at least right now, just because I really love the draft class that we had, man. I really do. I felt like it was a great draft for the Seahawks. In the first round, we picked up Charles Cross from Mississippi State, which was a huge draft pick because we need offensive line help. He was a really good left tackle while he was there. Last season, he only allowed 2 sacks and like 500 snaps, almost 500 snaps in the SEC. So you're going against literally NFL talent every single Saturday. I'm a huge college football fan. I'm a USC Trojan. Fight on, baby. But I watch everything, At the beginning of the day, we watch Big Ten. The middle of the day, we watch SEC. Then later on in the day, we watch Pac-12. That's just the way it goes. The Big 12's in there somewhere, but let's be real. I mean, they're gonna split that whole place up. I mean, you got Texas and Oklahoma both moving to the SEC. So eventually, I think they're just gonna have honestly, a North and South division. Conference. Because this is getting crazy with this whole SEC thing. But I felt like he was a great pick. With our second pick, we picked up Boye from Minnesota. He was a pass rusher, which I really like him. I didn't watch too much tape on him. I'm not even going to front. The highlights I was watching, he looked really good. But, again, those are highlights. Highlights are made to make you look good. Highlights. The one player I was extremely... honestly, with... We'll go back to Boye. With Boye, I honestly felt like we should have drafted Dean out of Georgia. Man, the Eagles ended up swooping him up, man. I really wanted that guy because we needed help at linebacker, offensive line, corner, and D tackle. Honestly, those are like the 4 positions we needed. We finished. We got a linebacker, and then we got our offensive tackle, our left tackle. So we hit on that, but. The pick that I was most excited about was Kenneth Walker III, man. The kid from Michigan State. If you haven't watched him, if you're a Seahawks fan, go watch some tape on this kid, man. This kid scored 5 TDs, 5 of them, on probably the nation's second best defense last year, which was Michigan. Michigan was in the playoffs last year, man. They had the number 2 pick from that school. They had a stout defense, and you got John Harbaugh. The John or Jim? It's Jim, my bad. Jim Harbaugh leading that team. And what was he known for? He's known for defense and running the ball. And this guy scored 5 touchdowns on them in Ann Arbor, I believe, too. So, this kid, I'm really excited about him. Seahawks Twitter wasn't too happy because they were like, oh, of course, another running back. Leave it up to Pete Carroll to mess things up. It's like, first of all, you can't be saying that because Carson and Penny have both proven, especially if you're a Seahawks fan, they've both proven that they can't stay healthy for a whole year. They can't. They're not reliable. They're not. When they are, man, they're on. We've seen what they could do. They could each rush for 100 yards. But that's a problem, is that they both don't stay on the field. That's why I love the Kenneth Walker pick. Me personally, I feel like he'll end up probably jumping to number 1 in the depth chart, and we'll probably end up trading Chris Carson for some draft picks or for something, because I really just believe in this kid that much. I think he's that good. He's a workhorse. He's patient. And he runs the ball so well. He was a number 1 running back in the nation. He won the Walker Award. No pun intended. Like, legit, he won the Walker Award for the best running back in the nation. He was one of the Heisman finalists, not the top 3, but he was one of them. He was up there. I believe he was top 5. He wasn't top 5, for sure was top 10, which says a lot about a running back. And I just believe he's that good. I felt like he was definitely our best pick. Then we got we picked up, who was it? It was Abraham Lucas, a kid from Pullman, which is literally just like an hour and a half away from here, which I think is awesome because I watched a lot of Pac-12 film, and this kid held his side down. So now we got our left tackle of the future and our right tackle of the future. And then they're learning from all the vets up front with guys like Lewis and Jackson. I'm just really excited for our offensive line next year. I feel like we're going to be, obviously we're still going to be somewhat decent because they're rookies, let's be real. But I feel like Lucas is probably going to have a bigger, I wouldn't be surprised if they switch it to and have Cross at right and then move Lucas to left. Because Lucas, honestly, he looks bigger. He's got the bigger frame. He's more stout. And that's what you want from your left tackle. Cross looks more like, like a right tackle. He's more slimmer. Looks like he'd be better in the run game, but he obviously shown that he's really good in the pass game. So we'll see either way. Either way, I felt like we hit on both tackles. Then we picked up some corners. We picked up Kobe Bryant. Yes, Kobe Bryant. He was named after Kobe Bryant. R.I.P. man. He even said in his family that his family named him after him, and that his dad was actually a huge fan of the Legion of Boom, which I think is awesome. If you don't know who Kobe Bryant is, the corner, he had a teammate across from him on the other side named Sauce Gardner, which was either the number 2 or the number 1 ranked corner, whichever way you want to see it. Me, I would rank him at 2. I think Stingley was better, and Stingley did go before him. Gardner went right after him to the Jets. But if you don't watch football too much, usually when you have a number 1 corner, they always the opposite team always attacks the second corner. You're not gonna try to throw to this guy. You're just not, because you know what he could do. So you always attack the second guy. Kobe was the second guy, and he held his own. He either won the Jim Thorpe or he was second in the Jim Thorpe, and that award goes to the best corner in the nation. So he obviously was so good, because obviously you're not going to give it to Gardner because nobody's throwing it his way. You're just not. And he held his own. He held his side down while teams were attacking him, which I feel like that's a huge pickup. That says a lot about him. The second corner we picked up was Woolen from UT, University of Texas. I think it's South Austin or San Antonio, one of the two. Which I think this was a huge steal. I wouldn't be surprised if this kid has a bigger impact right away, just for the simple fact that he ran a 4.26 and he's 6'4", and that's not even it. He was a receiver that got converted to a corner. The last corner that we had that did that played wide receiver in college and then got converted to a corner, was Richard Sherman. And I think what makes them so good, especially what made Richard Sherman so good, he even said it himself, is that based off your formation, he knows what routes are available. So just by looking at the formation, he could be like, okay, you could only run these 2 routes or these 3 routes, so I'm gonna shut all 3 of them down. That's what makes it so good. That's what's gonna help him a lot more. So that's why me personally, I feel like he's gonna have a faster impact than Kobe. Kobe will eventually probably be better than him, but I think that Tulin will be at least better because like right away, just because that helps him right there. That helps him knowing the whole route tree. So I feel like those two. Obviously we fixed our corner problem. We could get some veterans. Obviously that still helps, because I still like Trey Brown from that we drafted from Oklahoma last year. I mean, the kid, he brings it, man. He knows how to hit you, and he played really well. He held his own last year. I like Trey Brown. And then after those guys, we picked up Tyreek Smith from Ohio State. If Tyreek Smith can stay healthy, he's gonna be one of the biggest steals out of this whole draft. I'm being straight up. I watched a lot of Ohio State film. I like that program. I feel like they always get really good talent, and if they know for something, it's for pass rushers too. I mean, they drafted Nick Bosa and Joey Bosa, both came from there. Chase Young came from there. So they know pass rushers. They know how to get guys. His biggest problem is just that he just can't stay healthy. That's always been his biggest issue. So if this guy could stay healthy, he's going to be a problem, guys. Moving on from him, we picked up 2 receivers as well to finish our draft. We picked up the kid from Rutgers. Let me see where you at, buddy. I just had his name. I just lost it. Bo Melton. I think his was one of the best reactions I've seen. Cause my favorite part of the draft, it isn't the fact that these kids get to live out their dream. It's seeing their families, man. It's seeing how much impact it has for their families. One of the biggest ones that I really like seeing that the NFL does is like they send them a video or a letter from like a sibling or from their parents, and they just read it off, and it's just so awesome to see those kind of things. You see the emotion. I mean, stuff like that could bring anybody to tears, man. And it's just so cool to see that. And Bo Melton's, when he received this call from John Snyder, was one of the best reactions, man. Like, I love to see it. I love to see families and players know that they just changed everybody, not just their lives, but everybody around them's lives too. It's just the best, man. It really is. I can't wait to have my moment like that. And yeah, so it was cool seeing that. We finished it with Young from LRU. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch too much tape from this kid. One thing I did notice is he got some guns, man. This kid is stacked, like for real. He's a big boy. So I feel like he'll be like great like on special teams, but you never know. He could end up being the best one that out of all these guys. You just never know. I'm just really excited about all the guys we drafted. And that's not even the guys that we're gonna draft, that we're gonna get that are undrafted, and then other free agents. So I feel like the Seahawks really filled out a lot of holes that they needed. But I just feel like we still need more help at D tackle and then at linebacker. Everywhere else, I feel like we're good, we're set. But yeah, definitely in those three positions, I feel like we still do need some help, because it'd be nice to have these corners learning from a veteran, a really good veteran. Who knows? You could bring Richard Sherman back. I've been seeing a lot of his commercials for that RV shit pop up, so we'll see. Who knows? He might come back. It'd be awesome to have him, pretty much coach these young guys. So we'll still stick to football and talk about the Honey Badger. So he stayed home. He ended up signing a contract today with the New Orleans Saints, which brings him back home. If you don't know his story, he played at LSU, but he got kicked off the program because he couldn't stop smoking. He couldn't stop smoking, boys. And he must have been smoking that fire if he couldn't put that shit down. And he was risking his college career for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the damn day? But Honey Badger went to he went to LSU. He was a Tiger. He was actually a Heisman finalist as a DB, which the last one was, I believe it was Charles Woodson, but Charles Woodson actually won it. The Honey Badger was a problem in college. I mean, he's still a problem now, but in college, I mean, he was just a force, man. Like, it was awesome seeing him playing return. Like, he's just a football player, man. He really is. And he gets to go back home after his stint with the Chiefs. Obviously, I believe the Chiefs didn't have enough money to pay him because, I mean, they're really tied up on Pat Mahomes, Kelsey, Chris Jones, and then Clark, I believe. And then I believe they just re-sign, or they're going to re-sign Orlando Brown, which is their left tackle, and he ain't going to be cheap. So, I mean, the money was tight in Kansas City, and it's going to be tight for the next couple of years. But he goes back home to Louisiana, which I think is awesome. His jerseys are going to fly off the shelves, man, which I think is going to be awesome. He's going to be playing at that Superdome, probably a dream that he's had since he was a kid. And he's going to be at home, man, to one of the best fan bases in the NFL. You don't believe me? Try to have your team win in that Superdome, man. It is hard. They're loud. And so now kind of moving on to some sadder news, or kind of upsetting news, honestly, if you really think about it. But this news right here broke, the NFL world for a little bit. DeAndre Hopkins got in trouble for PEDs. If you don't know DeAndre Hopkins, he's a corner for the Cardinals, and he legit is a top 3. A lot of people would say it's number 1. Me, I got Devontae at number 1. I mean, I got Cooper Kupp at number 1, and then Devontae, and then I have DeAndre. But now that all changes everything, because you got popped for PEDs, bro. So all your credibility goes out the window. It does. It really sucks, because now anytime you have a great game, they're going to be like, oh yeah, well, of course, you're on PEDs. And not just that, you're going to constantly get tested by the NFL. I mean, it sucks for Hopkins, man, but that's just the way it goes, man. Honestly, we'd probably all be surprised at how many players are on PEDs. They just don't get caught. Honestly, man. And then that's in every sport, not just NFL. But it just sucks. Like I said, he pretty much is going to drop out of everybody's freaking, top receivers. I mean, you're still going to draft him in fantasy. I mean, let's be real. But yeah, he just got popped for a PED, so he's suspended for the first 6 games of the season. Me personally, I feel like they should make it at the end of the season because, I mean, I feel like that messes up your mojo more than at the beginning of the season. But I'm not the commissioner, man. So we'll see what happens there. I guess he was gonna try to appeal it, but the NFL straight up said, nah, like you're out for 6 games. Like, don't even try to appeal. So he didn't. And yeah, that's pretty much what's going on in the NFL world. We'll switch to the UFC world, which we're gonna actually have a really great card this weekend. It's gonna be UFC 274. There's gonna be 2 title fights, man. You're gonna have Charles Oliveira going against Justin Gaethje, which is gonna be a great fight, I believe. I mean, they're gonna go at it. It's gonna be a great fight. Charles, I would not stand and bang with Gaethje. I mean, he almost got knocked out by Michael Chandler, which actually fights in this card as well. The only problem I see with Justin though is he is a great wrestler, but man, Charles Oliveira is black. I mean, he's a black belt jiu-jitsu, man. Like, this kid is badass, and honestly, I just feel like it's his time. It's his time. The only way I could see Gaethje winning is by a knockout. That's the only way I could see him winning. But Charles could do it in any way. No matter where you want to go, he could go there, man. I really like Charles Oliveira, man. I really do. I feel like it's his time. He might not be like the better fighter every day, but it's just his time, man. It's his time. It's his time to reign. And I believe he will pull that fight out. And I believe it will be my submission. Because I doubt he'll knock Justin out. But you never know. Justin's been knocked out before too, because he gets tired. So we'll see what happens there. But I got Charles winning for Brazil. And then in the co-main event, you got Rose fighting Esparza Carla, which is a number 2 ranked strawweight. But I just think same thing. I feel like Rose is gonna win. It's her time. I mean, she just got done winning back-to-back against that. I don't know how to pronounce that Chinese girl's name. But she was like the boogie woman of that division. And Rose stopped her back-to-back times. Straight up. So I just feel like Rose is... I don't know if she'll dominate her, but I think she'll win by unanimous decision. Well, it's like, dude, that means she's going to dominate her. I know. But yeah, I got Rose winning that one. This next one, I really am excited to see this one. It's Michael Chandler against El Cucuy Tony Ferguson. That should be a really exciting fight, man. Michael Chandler obviously has proven to all of us that he ain't scared to throw down. He ain't scared to stand and bang with you and pose. Like, he's there, man. He's a scrapper. He's ready to fight. I like Michael Chandler, man. I really do. He is on a losing streak, but so is Tony Ferguson. So this is a huge fight for both of these guys. I mean, me personally, I feel like whoever loses this fight is probably going to get released by the UFC. Higher chance of getting released is probably Michael Chandler, just because we've seen what Tony Ferguson has done in the UFC for so long. But you never know. I mean, they both bring fans in. So as a fan of the UFC, you're going to be in for a real big treat when those two guys go at it, man. It's honestly up in the air. It's up in the air. If it goes in the ground, Tony Ferguson's got it. If it's even if it's standing up, like, I feel like it's pretty fair standing up. The only thing is that Michael Chandler, he's got them bombs, dude. He swings hard. He swings with real bad intentions, man. Like, really bad. So we'll see what happens there. After them, Mauricio Rueck, she's fighting, which I haven't seen his name pop up in a long time. If you don't know him, I mean, he used to be a champion until I believe he got beat by John Jones. I mean, John Jones wiped that whole division, though. And I honestly don't know how to say the other guy's name. All I know is the only Ovince Saint. So we'll see. It's a light heavyweight bout. But Rua, he's got the experience. He's the whole Brazilian jiu-jitsu type thing. So I give it to Rua just because, I don't know. I haven't seen this other guy fight. I do know how Rua fights though, but he's a lot older, so we'll see what happens there. And then we got Daniel Cerrone, the Cowboy, fighting against Joe Lozon. I mean, dude, this guy looks like a cousin of Dustin Poirier, like for real. At least in this picture, man. I'm a root for the Cowboy, man. Speaking of a guy that's also on a losing streak, it is the Cowboy. But I'm always gonna root for Cowboy, man, just because the kind of person he is, how he treats the fans, how he presents himself. You can just tell he's a really, really good person, man. I don't know this other guy. I really don't. And I haven't seen him fight either, so I'm just going off stuff that I know. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a great card, guys. So I definitely, if you don't have nothing to do on Saturday, this Saturday coming up, I definitely say order this fight. It's going to be a really good one, guys. I really like these matchups. They're gonna be good. And then speaking of fights, we had probably the biggest boxing fight for a women's fight with Serrano and Taylor. I mean, this was an instant classic, guys. These two women put on a show, bro. They put on a show. It was such a great fight. You had every big name talking about it, just praising the fight. It was an awesome fight, man. Taylor did get the win, but it was split decision, man. So anytime I see split decision, I always, to me personally, the what I see them doing, at the scoring table is literally flipping a coin. Like, all right, whatever it lands on, that's who wins. Because that's basically what a split decision is, man. It's so close that's pretty much what it comes down to. Excuse me. I definitely believe they will fight again. So I don't think it'll be the last time we see these two fight. And man, they just put on a great show. Congratulations, ladies, for real. You women did such a great job. Y'all are some warriors. If y'all don't know who these two girls are, look them up. Look up the fight. You won't regret it, man. It was such a good fight. These girls are amazing. They made me fans right off the bat, man. I'll definitely be watching both of these girls for the rest of their careers. It was just so awesome to see that they put on a great fight. So we'll see when they fight next. I'm almost positive they're going to do a rematch. I mean, everybody's going to tune in for that. We're being real. Everybody's going to tune in for that. We also had Shakur Stevenson fight this weekend. He fought, I believe it was Ortiz, right? Man, this kid is good. He is really good. He really outboxed the other guy really bad, man. I mean, you had Canelo in the house. I mean, he looked pissed the whole time. He looked hella mad. But I mean, what are you gonna do? Shakur was just a way better boxer. He really was. He showed out. He showed what he had to do, and we'll see who he fights next. Everything in the boxing world is going good, man. There's a lot of great boxers that need to fight each other. And you got these girls that really set the bar for this year already. I mean, they legit was probably the boxing fight of the year so far. Some people, I don't like the fact that a lot of people would say the women's best fighter of the year. I believe straight boxing fight of the year. After the whole, the whole of their women's side. Nah, I mean, I'm talking boxing. And they put on the boxing fight of the year so far. Men's and women's. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see who tries to top that fight. But man, like I said, great job, girls. I mean, gosh damn, that was such a good fight. But that's pretty much all I have for you guys today, guys. Keep on watching the playoffs. The playoffs are going on. Let me check the score one more time for you guys before we get out of here. The Heat are gonna win the game one, which it's supposed to happen. The Sixers are missing their best player. That's still not an excuse. It is though, because they're not fully healthy. And I mean, let's be real. Harden isn't holding his side of the bargain. So we'll see what happens there. But definitely they won game one. So we'll see what happens in this next game, which is going to be the Suns and the Mavericks. Like I told you earlier, I feel that the Suns are going to win the series. And I feel like they will win tonight as well. But I doubt they'll sweep the Mavericks. But we'll see what happens, guys. We don't know what happens, and we don't predict the future, and we don't predict injuries either. So injuries do happen. It's literally the shittiest part of life, is injuries. When it comes to sports, obviously. So we'll see what happens, and I really appreciate you guys for joining me again today. Keep fighting, keep chasing your passions. If you haven't found your passion, look for it. Don't be scared to do it, man. I mean, I just started doing this the whole entire time. I've had this whole setup for like a year now. The only thing I didn't have was my laptop. This was the only thing that was holding me back from starting my podcast. And now that I got it, I mean, I'm going all in. I'm telling you, this is what I found. This is it. This is what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to be a podcaster. I'm meant to do this with y'all and have a great time and just spread positivity to every single one of you, because that's what it's about. I'm all here for just all positive vibes, APV to the end of me, man. It really is. And I just really appreciate all you guys always taking the time to watch my videos, comment on them, sharing them, just supporting me. Honestly, it means everything to me. It really does. And I appreciate every single one of you, and I love every single one of you. Don't you ever forget that. And just keep going, keep striving for greatness. You will get where you need to get to. It's going to take some time, just like this. It's going to take some time for me to actually take off. But when I do, it's going to be together. We're all going to be in this together. I want it to be together. And yeah, let's keep making friends. I want you guys to communicate with each other in the comments, because it's great peoples, man. It's going to be nothing but great peoples around me. And it's going to be awesome. We're all in this together, and we're all going to succeed together, and we're going to be great together. All right, guys? So I'll catch you guys on the next one, and I appreciate you guys for joining me. All right?
Yeah, there's no time to waste, no time to waste, no time to waste, no. There's no time to waste, no time to waste, no time to waste. So you better do the damn thing right. You only got one